This is the EWN Podcast Network.
Welcome to Late Boomers, our podcast guide to creating your third act with style, power, and impact. Hi, I'm Cathy Worthington.
And I'm Mary Elkins. Join us as we bring you conversations with successful entrepreneurs, entertainers, and people with vision who are making a difference in the world.
Everyone has a story, and we'll take you along for the ride on each interview, recounting the journey our guests have taken to get where they are, inspiring you to create your own path to success. Let's get started. Welcome to the Late Boomers Podcast, where we bring you inspiring stories of people creating new chapters in life with style, power, and impact. I'm Cathy Worthington.
And I'm Mary Elkins. And today we have a fascinating guest who's reinvented herself as a novelist after a career in finance. Kirsten Marion writes paranormal fiction and has some incredible insights for anyone looking to start a new chapter in their life. And I love paranormal, by the way.
Oh, good. We love exploring how our guests take risks, transform their careers, and pursue their passions.
And today we'll touch on topics like creativity, self-publishing, overcoming self-doubt, and how to get into a productive author mindset. All of this is part of what makes reinvention exciting and possible.
Plus, we'll dig into how to navigate fear and paralysis when considering big life changes. Kirsten's story is full of lessons for anyone thinking about a pivot.
And we'll also get into her favorite tips for getting started, staying motivated, and creating your own path, even when it feels intimidating.
So let's bring Kirsten in.
Kirsten Marion, welcome to the Late Boomers Podcast. You've made an amazing transition from finance to writing paranormal fiction.
Yeah.
It was quite a leap.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, sure. I talk about reinvention a lot because my older characters in my books are going through this process of midlife reinvention. Sometimes reinvention is chosen, and sometimes through various life events, it's thrust upon you. And that happened to me. I was in a job that I loved. I was the CFO of a hospital, and I really, really enjoyed it. My husband was a mining executive, and there are no mines in Toronto. There are corporate offices, but he was sent to run the Russian and Central Asia operations out of Moscow. So we tried doing the two-country approach for a while because we still had teenage kids at home. And after a while, when I got the youngest kid through the first year of university, it became untenable. And I was faced with a choice of my life as I knew it, or my marriage. And so quit the job. And left for Moscow and lived in Moscow for a while. And that's the big Moscow. Yeah.
That's huge.
It was huge. So suddenly I had lost my identity because my identity up until then was as an executive and as a parent. The only unifying factor was my husband, who still traveled a bit, so that wasn't entirely helpful. And I got to take my dog, thank God. But when you're forced into a situation like that, when everything is torn down, it gives you a blank slate to think about. Well, okay, what am I going to do now? Because the worst thing you can do is fight reality. And fighting reality would have meant saying, it shouldn't be like this. It should be different. So accepting reality and what I had to work with So I had always wanted to write. I started writing my own little books when I was about 8 years old, heavily influenced by the borrowers at the time. So I was always fantasy driven. And I thought, well, I have time, I have space, I will start writing again. And I did. And I joined an online writing group, and I met people there that became longtime friends now. And that also led to the next step, which was when we returned to Canada, one of the members of the writing group had started a small publishing company that I then bought into. And then, so I worked as a publisher for a few years. Now I'm phasing out of that to focus more full-time on my own writing. So that's how I got from corporate CFO to then publisher to now
It's
author.
great. What led you to choose paranormal fiction as your preferred genre? And tell us a little bit about your books, Chic Crone and your Rowanswood series, and the new one too.
Well, I like reading paranormal fiction, and they say write what you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I think Mary and I have that in common. I also like the idea of writing older female main characters, and paranormal fiction is starting to have more of those midlife characters in it. I think it's an underused market. I mean, the last baby boomer turned 60 last year. So there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us women that just aren't represented very well in fiction. And
You're very right.
And certainly not as coming into power. You know, if you did see an older female character before, she was on the downslope, if you know what I mean.
For sure.
Or she was a mom or whatever.
For those of us that don't know the genre, can you elaborate what are the characteristics of paranormal fiction? I don't really understand the name.
Okay. Paranormal, well, there's in fantasy, there's paranormal and there's high fantasy. Paranormal is set in our world, but with magical components. Okay. High fantasy would be Lord of the Rings or Discworld or something that you've created a whole different world. So paranormal fiction often has like the werewolf, the vampire, the witch, the mythical creatures. So that's what paranormal
I
fiction
thought
is.
that the high fantasy was more the creatures.
High fantasy is in a different world.
Okay.
That's the main defining feature. It has created a different world altogether.
Okay.
Paranormal, as I understand it, and Lord knows somebody out there is going to correct me, but
always everybody.
Always. It has real world components.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I got it. But tell us a little bit about the books that you have out now.
Okay, so The Chic Crone is the first book in the series, and it's that one. And it starts off, my main character, her husband dies. She discovers his mistress of 20 years has actually borne him a second family. There is no money. He has spent all the money. She's broke, loses her house in London, and gets a mysterious letter from a long dead grandmother that she has inherited a house in Rowanswood. And she starts in her rage at the way she's being treated, it starts coming out as fire magic, which she doesn't understand at all. So the first book is her making the change from London to this enchanted village in Cornwall.
Ah, I know Cornwall.
Finally being forced to accept reality, accept that things have changed, and step into her life, which means stepping into her new power.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the gist of it. It's cozy fantasy. It's not graphic or violent, or it's quite funny in spots. And I've written it hoping to encourage other women to feel that as they get older, they can still get more powerful. Age does not mean being less than or a diminution in power.
That's what our podcast is about.
And it's never too late. It is never too late to try something new, to step more fully into yourself and into your power.
Excellent.
And tell us more about your, I was going to say, tell us more about your Rowanswood series.
Well, that's the first book in the series. The second book is Crown of Flames, and it picks up where the first book left off, because there were a few cliffhangers in the first book for which I am profoundly sorry. I'm getting better at that.
I don't think you have to be sorry about cliffhangers. I think it's what keeps people interested. That's perfect.
Well, it's fine when there's a second book for them to go on to right away. It's not so fine when they're going, what?
So you had to write the second book.
Oh, yeah, and I had to write it quickly. The first book came out in March, and the second book comes out October 31st, Friday.
Oh, Halloween.
Yeah. Well, it's also Samhain, the pagan holiday of Samhain, which is a holiday where the veil thins between the living and the dead.
Oh.
And that's where Halloween comes from.
Love that.
And there's a Mexican holiday that's about the same thing. But I'm going to say the name wrong, so I won't say it.
That's okay. I actually would love to know what every author should know about self-publishing.
Well, it's quite different from traditional publishing, as I learned, coming from traditional publishing to self-publishing. The first thing is you have to learn how to wear a lot of different hats. You have to do your own marketing. You have to build your own audience, which sounds daunting, but it's not. I've learned how to really streamline my process and focus on what's effective, the simplest, most effective way to build my community. And the other thing is I have learned to get editors. I've learned to do my own book formatting. Get covers, cover creation. It's
how do you have time
like
to
running
write?
A business. I always, aside from writing, I try to find the easiest way to do something, quite frankly. So
good idea.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about social media offline, and one of the reasons why I don't spend any time on traditional social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called now, is because it is so ephemeral, right? You don't know if you're reaching your audience. You don't know if you're getting your message out. And it's really hard to build a community these days. on that social media. And it exposes you to a lot of really unpleasant stuff these days that I don't need. So I have focused on the marketing that I consider to be evergreen, that lasts a long time, or where you own your audience. So the first is building an email list.
Oh.
And I do that by learning about how to put a call to action in the back matter of my books. Sign up
I was
for my
about to
newsletter.
ask how you did that.
Yeah. Sign up for my newsletter and get a free story. And that starts to build the email list. And is it okay if I mention a company name?
Sure.
I'm not affiliated with any of the companies I mentioned.
Sure.
I will say that.
Go ahead.
But Written Word Media is an American company, I think, based in Carolinas. And they have various programs, one of which is called a subscriber surge giveaway. And I signed up for one of those for my fantasy book. You have to pick your genre. And they put together 20 books that they offer as a package for people to win as a giveaway for giving knowingly the authors the email address to sign up. I got hundreds of subscribers that way.
Wow.
And
fabulous.
The retention has been really good.
Perfect. That's really great.
Yeah. So
what do you tell writers that struggle with self-doubt? What advice would you give a writer experiencing that while they're writing?
That never goes away.
It never goes away?
No. And it's not you. It's not you. It's just
everybody.
A function. It is everybody, but it's also a function of being a creative. Because creating something is so personal. You're writing a book, it feels like your baby, your child. And if somebody criticizes it, well, but you have to detach from your work and your self-worth. That's what I would say first.
Oh, detach. Yeah.
Is we tend to conflate.
Especially if you've written a memoir.
Yes, because that is super personal. But if you're just writing, not just, but if you're writing nonfiction or fiction that isn't as personal as a memoir, the book has nothing to do with your self-worth. And Stephen King gets 1-star reviews. There is no author out there that everybody loves. So the people who love you will, it's like movies or anything else.
Yeah.
So you have to go into it, I think, with the belief that it's not personal.
Hard to do. I know
it
that
is hard to do.
When I'm working, I have to remember every person has a voice and every voice is different. However, then you read all the great authors and you think, oh my God, how do I do that? So it's quite telling. How do you get into a productive author mindset then? And especially when your motivation is low or when you're doubting yourself or you don't have a lot of self-worth that day. How do you get into that mindset?
Write 25 words.
25?
Just sit down. Yep, that works for me because by the time I've written 25, I'm going, oh, I know what to say next.
You actually count them?
Well, I have a pretty good idea what 25 looks like now, but the point is that I sit down and I say, I only have to write this much today. Okay, because it's the smallest number that I can come up with that will prime the pump, as it were. But once I'm actually sitting in the chair, it's funny when you put yourself in the environment of doing the work, it's easier to just keep doing it. It's the old laws of inertia. An object in motion stays in motion.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So,
for our listeners, on a slightly different subject, because I know you're well versed in this, but people that are contemplating big life changes, what advice would you give someone who's terrified or paralyzed by the prospect?
first thing is to actually go back. If you have an option as to where you go, okay, you can't stay where you are. That's been taken away from you, but you have an option of where you go from here.
Okay.
Think about what you loved best, what you wanted to do between the ages of 8 and 11. There's something about that age group that is really pure for what your heart wants, because you haven't yet had the world beat into you what you should do. So I would revisit that part of you and just spend some time exploring, well, what if? And if this is what I want, how can I start from where I am?
I love
And
that.
then reverse engineer.
What if?
Yeah.
They say that to all
Mhm.
writers. I know. What
Mhm.
and you wanted to be a writer at 8. Kathy, what did you want?
Exactly.
Horses. I got
Okay.
them and I did that. I bred horses, I rode horses, but I was living and breathing horses. Yeah.
And I wanted to be 2 things. I wanted to be on Broadway and I wanted to be a veterinarian. They're a little different. So Kirsten, so you kind of answered this question about where a new author should focus their energy first, especially if they're overwhelmed, but perhaps you could elaborate on that?
Pick a type of story that you're most interested in. Like we talked about picking paranormal fiction. Read it. See how it beats out. You know, you can make yourself a roadmap. Save the Cat Writes a Novel is a great book for a beginning author because it
that's a good tip.
explains. Yeah.
Save the cat.
Yeah, they've
I've heard of
written
that.
Save the Cat has written a number of different books. One for writing a screenplay, and this one for writing a novel. I found it really useful because it gives a roadmap, and you can break it down into, if you're writing like a quest or the hero's journey, for example, that breaks down into 12 definite segments that the hero goes through on that journey. So you can kind of beat out what your book is going to look like. And then you just start filling in and filling in and filling in. But having that structure, I found for me, gave me some comfort, and I wasn't going, well, I have no idea where to start. I don't know what to do here.
Because most books are written in that structure.
Well, they're written in several different structures, but Save the Cat goes through the different types.
Different methods.
Different methods, depending on what type of book you're trying to write.
And Kirsten, what would you say from your experience in talking to people and writing? What's the most rewarding part of reinventing yourself at a later stage in life?
It's finally finding yourself. It's coming back to who you really are. I think it's that reinvention is more peeling back the layers that social expectation, parents, school, work, all the external expectations that have been put on you. You have a choice of peeling them back because you really cease to care so much about what other people think. At least that's been my experience.
Yeah.
And you have much more freedom to write your own script and do those
true.
things you always wanted to do.
That's true. Are you finding that you feel happier and more joyful in this career versus finance?
I loved finance, but this is more who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I was good at finance, but this is more, I feel more grounded now, more just comfortable in my own skin than I ever have.
That's great.
Despite the skin not being what it was at 25 or 30 or 35.
Tell me about it.
That's true. Absolutely. It's one of those things when you look in the mirror and you go, what happened?
Yes.
Anyway, Kirsten, thank you so much for joining us on Late Boomers and sharing your journey. Very, very powerful.
Yes, we enjoyed your story. And I'm sure our listeners will feel motivated to take some new steps forward.
So for everybody listening, remember, as Kirsten said, it's never too late to start something new, and take a page from her book, literally and figuratively. And Kirsten, would you tell our listeners what your website is?
Yeah, it's KirstenMarion.com.
That's KirstnMarion.
E-N.
See?
No. KirstenMarion.
That's it.
And don't forget to check out the Late Boomers podcast on our website, lateboomers.us, for more stories of reinvention and inspiration. Thank you so much for joining us on Late Boomers today. Thank you for joining us on Late Boomers, the podcast that is your guide to creating a third act with style, power, and impact. Please visit our website and get in touch with us at lateboomers.us. If you would like to listen to or download other episodes of Late Boomers, go to ewnpodcastnetwork.com.
This podcast is also available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and most other major podcast sites. We hope you make use of the wisdom you've gained here and that you enjoy a successful third act with your own style, power, and impact.